so we're going to dive into your expertise a little bit. I have a secret question that I ask every entrepreneur as well. And your secret question is, what is the secret to guiding millennials to create an extraordinary life they love?
For me, it comes down to authenticity
Mm,
and what that is about for me. So I basically feel like I'm on this mission to sort of undo the societal conditioning that most of us have like unavoidably kind of succumbed to for most of our lives.
mhm,
Every now and then I come across someone who really has like genuinely lived very authentically their whole life, but it's so rare, you know?
mhm,
And when I find those people, I'm like, tell me about your parents, tell me about your caregivers, tell me about who raised you, because whatever you have is rare and magical.
mhm,
Because most of what I've seen, and I'm working with people mostly in the US or Western Europe who have mostly grown up in kind of like a Western thinking society where we
mhm,
have, there's so much, like you look at more at other countries or other cultures that are a little bit more like in the collective, more indigenous styles where it's like we the collective, where it's very, like it takes a village kind of thinking.
mhm,
So much of what my clients and I have grown up with is this like individualist, like you got to prove yourself, you got to make your
mm,
parents proud. And so a lot of it is kind of following like the classic American dream, which
mhm,
love where that came from with immigrants and doing all of that. But what it's turned into in a lot of ways is this like long list of shoulds, and
mm,
it's like, here's what you need to do to prove that you are a worthy human being.
mm,
And so many of my clients, many of whom, like you said, are millennials. They'll come to me and they're like, they can kind of hand me this resume of their work and life, and it looks really good
mhm,
because they've spent their whole lives trying to make it look really good.
mhm,
There's been such a focus on achievement. I think of it as like we live in this achievement-based paradigm where it's like, what do I need to do to appear to be successful? What do I need to do to make people think that I'm a good person? And so,
mm,
so much of that is like, it's going to the good school and it's getting good grades and then it's getting a good job, and like good in all these cases is kind of like either what your parents think would be good or what would your parents would be proud to tell their friends about.
mhm,
Very little of it has to do with like, what the hell do you actually want?
mhm,
So I get all these people, and being near San Francisco, I get a lot of like San Francisco high achieving,
mhm,
very high performing professionals and entrepreneurs who are just like so career obsessed, which is amazing. And there's a lot of parts of that that are very admirable. But through the process, they have lost themselves.
mhm,
So here they have these shiny lives and careers, and they come to me and they're like, I am not happy. What is wrong with me? I should be grateful. Look at my life that I've created. And like they're miserable and they don't
mhm.
understand why. And so then we kind of start untangling what's going on there. And we realize like none of the stuff they chose is bad or wrong. It just wasn't authentic to them.
It
And so
wasn't
then
what filled their bucket.
yeah, so then we just start, it's basically this like soul excavation where you start digging down to like, well, what do you actually want? And then if we dig back even further, most of that comes down to like, who are you really?
Mhm,
And so a lot of the work I do is around identity. I think of identity as past, present, future. Their past is like who you've been thinking yourself, who you've
mm,
believed yourself to be up until now, which is mostly unconscious. It's mostly based on our fears, our traumas, our conditioning, our childhood programming. And so much of that is
mhm.
just on autopilot.
Yep.
Some of it's a great fit and a lot of it is not. So we can kind of like untangle that, and then we can dig deep and like, who the heck actually am I? What do I care about? What are my values? What are my passions? What's my purpose? All of that. And then also like, but who do I want to be?
Mhm,
Even if I'm showing up really authentically now, like what's the next level version of me? How do I step into my power? What's the most empowered, like in my kind of leadership version of me, like the aspirational future self? And then it becomes creating a life and a lifestyle that's in alignment with all of that.
that's awesome. That's awesome.